I'm here to announce the painful news that for the second time in 2 days, Chicago has lost another city employee to the COVID-19 virus. And this time, it was a Chicago Police Department officer. Since the moment this crisis arrived in our city, it has been our healthcare workers, first responders like this officer, who have been putting their lives on the line every day to fight this virus and keep Chicagoans safe. Tragically, this officer gave his life to that fight. Our hearts go out to the individual's family, friends, and fellow officers whose lives have been forever changed by this terrible loss. I'll let Superintendent Beck provide more personal details in a moment, but what I'll tell you is that this officer was a 21-year veteran of the department and worked in the narcotics section. And I spoke this morning with his commander, and I know that he was held in high esteem by all who work with him. Now, while Superintendent Beck will share the officer's name, it is only with the consent of the family that we do so. By law, the Chicago Department of Public Health must safeguard the personal privacy of all patients. But with the consent of the family, we will deviate from this norm today. The officer contracted the virus last week and was hospitalized this past weekend. Unfortunately, the severity of the virus became overwhelming, and he passed away with his family by his side. The searing loss is yet another reminder of the lethal danger of COVID-19 and that danger that it poses to our city. And that the numbers that we hear every day are more than just statistics. They represent our neighbors, our grandparents, children, colleagues, and friends. And we need to be clear-eyed that, as we have been saying, unfortunately, these numbers will worsen before they improve. That is why every single day, you will hear me say that we have to stay home to save lives. What each of us does, what you do, matters. Every time you go outside, it matters. Every time you violate the orders against congregating in large groups, it matters. You are not only putting yourself at risk, but you're putting others at risk. And I just implore those small segment of you who still haven't gotten the message that you must stay home to save lives. The more Chicagoans stay in, the sooner this crisis in our city will end, the more lives will be spared, and the sooner we can move our city forward from this terrible, terrible tragedy. We have to be all in this together, and we will only get through it by working together. This officer was an example of what our first responders, our essential workers, are doing every day to serve our city and keep it running and keeping us safe. Please, let's honor his life and his service by doing your part to stay home and save lives. That's what we must do. Now, at this time, I'd welcome Superintendent Beck to the podium to share a few words. Superintendent.
It is with tremendous sadness and great regret that I announce to the city of Chicago the passing of one of its finest. Officer Marco Difranco passed away last night at 50 years of age from complications related to COVID-19. He is survived by his wife, by 2 children, ages 7 and 10, and by a brother who worked the same division that he did, narcotics division, for the Chicago Police Department. Officer DeMarco contracted the virus last week and was hospitalized over the weekend. He was appointed to the Chicago Police Department in May of 1998 and is a 21-year veteran of the department. He was most recently assigned to Narcotics Division under the Bureau of Detectives. He was a highly decorated officer During his tenure with the Chicago Police Department, he received 154 awards, including a Superintendent's Honorable Mention and Special Commendation. His sacrifice underscores the threats that are faced by public safety employees who are not, by nature of their profession, allowed to shelter in place, shelter at home. We've always been more at risk for violence because of our profession. And now I think we are more at risk of virus because of our profession. It's with great sadness that I represent the entire police department in our outpouring of emotion for the family. With that, I'd like to bring somebody to the podium who knew Officer Difranco personally and has some words as representative of the police union, and that's Kevin Graham. Kevin?
The Lodge and its members are truly devastated to learn that we have lost one of our own members to this coronavirus. Our thoughts and our prayers go out to the officer's family and the co-workers. I would ask that the citizens of the city of Chicago and the people of Illinois pray for our first responders, for their families, for the medical professionals. This is yet another sign of the daily courage that our members face and go out there to make sure that the people of the city of Chicago are safe. On a personal note, the officer was related to one of our FOP attorneys. I spoke with him this morning. They are truly devastated by their loss. I would also like to mention that should our officers be feeling depressed at this time, because these are some truly very sad times that we are living in, and the hard work and the danger that they are pressed into, that they reach out to employee assistance, that they reach out to someone, because these are very, very difficult times, and the union supports them and will help them through any of these times. Thank you, and please keep the men and women of the Chicago Police Department in your prayers. Thank you.
Hey, if you like that video, be sure to subscribe to our ABC7 Chicago YouTube channel.